What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Dwayne Nettles, aka Mr. Nettles, and I'm going to toss it to my co host.
What's
Yo,
good? What's good, man? It's your boy Jose right here, man. Listen, it's Wakanda forever.
yo,
You feel me? I'm about to toss it to my homie Max, man. You go ahead and end it out, bro.
what in there? You just cut me off. I don't even want it now. It's cool. Listen, man, it's your boy Maximilian, man. I just got cut off, but it's cool though. Let's go, man. See what type of episode this about to be.
Yeah, I see that. See the energy already. All right, so the three of us
It's for the
collectively,
energy.
we make the last of Hip Hop podcast. Today, you're joining us for episode 11, Wakanda Forever. At the time of this recording, we just lost our brother, Chadwick Boseman, so it was only right that we dedicate this episode to our brother, a fallen comrade, kindred spirit of sorts, in the brother Chadwick Boseman. So this episode is dedicated to him. We're gonna rap briefly, kind of about his life, his contributions. We're gonna talk some current events. We're gonna get into some political discussion with my guys today. We're gonna do our shameless plug as normal, but we're gonna go ahead and kick off the episode like we always kick it off. This is probably gonna be the most boring edition of What Are You Wearing? Because we're all wearing black in solidarity for our brother, as well as comrades, victims of police brutality. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it off. So today I'm rocking the bandana across my face. I'm gonna pull this down because y'all know I like to drink my wine on the air, so I need to pull this down. So my bandana, my Beats headphones, little Scully, solid black tee, all black jeans, and my kicks for the day. Pulled out my black chrome Jordan 8s. We're keeping it real light, real simple, all black, blacked out in solidarity. I'm gonna pass it to Jose.
What's good, y'all? This is Jose Rivera. You feel me? I got the you see me with the Dreamville T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to promote black excellence. I got that NWA, you know what I'm saying, headband on. You know what I'm saying? I got the COVID-19 ski mask. You know what I'm saying? Got a nice little Seiko watch. You know what I'm saying? Something simple. Today, I'm just basically barefooted today. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to get my Wakanda spirit, you know what I'm saying, going today. You know what I'm saying? I hope when it's time for me to go to the afterlife, hope I'm ready. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to the ancestral plane. The ancestral plane. Cheers to the ancestral plane.
Ah!
Vitamin
C shot, y'all.
Jose took the heart-shaped herb.
Yo, would you just put a 24-hour okay.
No, this is the immunity super shot, bro. Trying to promote good health. You know what I'm saying? So
24-hour
I'm not, bro. I don't need that. I don't need that type of performance, bro. My performance is good. But go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Black crew on, man. Rest in peace. Chadwick Boseman. So, had to commemorate him. The black on, so.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's jump right into it. So I guess we'll start with just the initial news. Like, how do you guys feel hearing it? Like,
man, when I read his Instagram, I was like, man, he went out like a G. 4 years dealing with with colon cancer and really tell nobody. I'm like, man, he did it the right way. How I look at it. That's how I'm looking at it. Doing all those movies and giving back.
What about you, Jose?
When I got the initial news, I think like my whole day just stopped. Like it was just unexpected. It just made me just appreciate life a little bit more. And just realize that tomorrow is not promised. You know what I'm saying? This is somebody that we've, got accustomed to, liking on TV. He represented Black culture, in the Marvel movies. He's also participated in other biography films as well. I think it was like what James Brown, Jackie
Right.
Robinson.
They're
He's
good.
premiered some Netflix dope films that I've seen from him as well. So I think he had been growing on Black culture and just Black people a lot, just with the Wakanda movement and giving Black people like just a sense of pride and like a sense of hope. So
Definitely. I know for me, like it's crazy because I was literally talking to Max like right before the news broke. Like I got on the phone with Max. I had to handle something. Then I got a phone call. It was like, cause look, I'm a huge Chadwick Boseman fan. So I just got a phone call and it was like yo Wayne, like yo Chadwick Boseman died. So I was just sitting there like I was like shut up, get out of here. Like what are you talking about? They're like no, Chadwick Boseman is dead. Like I Googled it and I was like, oh my god, my dude like has colon cancer. So I think it's a crazy feeling to discover one for someone to pass unexpectedly at a young age, and you find out at that same moment that they passed that they had colon cancer. Like it's trippy almost, yo. You like because you just didn't see it coming. I think the crazy thing about it, I remember seeing not too long ago he had an appearance on something, and I looked at it, I saw him, and I was like, yo, he looks like unusually small. Like he don't look like himself. But me, like I just chalked it up to his professionalism. I like, yo, he must be preparing for a role, right? He's that much of a professional. Like he just like he's that by the book. Like he really dives into his characters. Again, so even being physically seeing him in a frail state, I just chalked it up as, oh, he must be doing something for work. And then one thing I thought about too, I remember, and I had this conversation today with one of my friends. I remember like when he made that appearance, a lot of people were putting side by side pictures, and I remember people were literally on the internet like clowning him. With like, yo, he looked crazy. Was like, yo, is he on drugs? Like all this like slander, and like now that the news is out, people are like backstepping, like backpedaling, like, I'm like, oh shit, I can't believe I said that, yo. So I think with that happening, I think we all need to be very, very careful and very mindful of our words. Like our words are powerful. Like no one means. I don't think no one intentionally goes in just trying to be malicious. But I think we forget at times that these are real. Like we say all the time, we forget that these are real people. Like they got real issues and they got stuff going on. And to think that people were like poking fun and making jokes about this man, and he's like battling cancer, but you don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like a constant reminder of like everybody got stuff going on. You need to be very conscious of, like what we're doing, and then our words. Like even from the civilian standpoint, I think a lot of us discredit our collective platforms. Like your social media is a platform, even at the consumer level. Like you're putting stuff out there like and talking about people like as if they're not real. Like these people see these comments, they take them seriously, they feel it. So it's really sad if they think about it that way, man. Yeah, like, unreal. What's your thoughts, Max? Max, like you about to say something?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely definitely agree with you. Like, he was definitely getting, shunned upon, but I feel like he didn't necessarily need to say nothing to nobody about, kept doing this. He listen, when you in the limelight like that, you giving people movies and things, you keeping it hush, not letting nobody know. That's as you should. You know what I'm saying? Let me keep, providing y'all. Y'all can say what y'all want to say about me. You know what I'm saying? All I'm doing is, collecting awards, giving phenomenal performances. So it's whatever. So that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? The more I grow and learn, like people's opinions don't really matter anyway, especially when you're doing your thing.
Right. Oh, definitely. I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways I've been taking from it, and I just really like all today, I just been kind of processing it, yo. Like even last night, like when I first heard it, I was just in like disbelief. like knowing this is to a person I'm a real fan of. And then I think too, like I feel like I feel like I have a somewhat of a personal connection to the guy, being that he's from South Carolina. Like we have so many guys who are South Carolina born and raised, who actually claim where they're from and who have done big things and are, out there like and proud about it. I'm like proud to say he's from Anderson, South Carolina. So I felt the connection to him that way. And so just initially, like, it's a state of disbelief. And then like as I began to process it, just reading through it, and then I think when I read the news report, I think that's when it just kind of hit me, like, for real. It was like, yo, he died like with his wife and his kids at his side. I was just like, yo, like, this dude's like literally like he's in the prime of his life. Like, you're 43 years old, you passed. And I think the big thing is, like, it's a testament of his strength that he dealt with all that and still was a professional, like still played all these roles, still chose to come out here and entertain people at an immensely high level. But at the same time, it's like, you got to know that this is news that is only shared between a few select few people. So in that sense, you're battling a lot of things on your own. So I really felt for him and his family at that moment, because it's like, all this just came out all of a sudden. And I pray for them at this moment, because like now you have this wide outpour of attention, of praise, of love, and just like I can see that being incredibly overwhelming, because it was for me as a fan. So I can only imagine what it's like for his wife and kids.
I feel like, of course, the ones close probably knew, but outside his close immediate family, you know what I'm saying. So I'm pretty sure they were prepared for the moment, especially if you like you said, you're performing at a high level. They know I'm sure they know what's going on, but the outside world don't know. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think he was well prepared, like, what I'm saying, to go out like this. In my eyes, that's how I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? And may have, and I was talking to my sister earlier about it, and she was saying like, yo, he may have, say if the world did know, he might wouldn't have lasted that long. You know what I'm saying? So
I see the same thing, man.
That's how I'm looking at it.
I'm glad you said too, man. I see the same thing, because a lot of people was like, a lot of conversations I've been having, a lot of people like, yo, like, he was doing all his work. Like, I know that was taxing. I know that was draining. I know that probably took a lot out of him. But I think I kind of flipped the narrative. I'm like, he was working at such a high level. He was such a professional. And in day, like, he wasn't a mediocre actor either. Like, he was bringing like great performances to these roles.
Exactly.
Like, and the thing about it, like, he was bringing so much joy and love to people around the world in the work that he did. So I said, like, you know what? We don't know. Right. We don't know if that wasn't what was keeping him going. Because cancer is aggressive. Like, cancer is an ugly disease.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, and that's one of the highlights I saw, what I, despite his performances and his great acting, was, the things that stood out for me is like when he was going to St. Jude, and he was in an interview talking about the kids that had cancer. When he was on the late night show, when people were like, yo,
that would do it for me, man. So I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, when they were like, just paying homage to his character in Black Panther, and he was coming out, they was surprised. His motivational speeches when he was at Howard. Like, dude was dope. Like, outside of all that as well. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Like, that's what I was messing. I was like, dang, dude was really on point with it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, on the real, like, what you got?
Like, because I feel like some of that stuff is underestimated to the degree.
You know that. I feel like Jose was about to say something. What are you about to say?
I just feel, and I hope that people use this as an example of like how to like not judge people, because you don't know what people are going to like see like their last or their final hour. Like, I could piggyback off what Wayne said. Like, when I had seen the original photos, I didn't make fun of him. I just assumed that he was just being professional, and he was working on a film that just required him to lose like a little bit of weight. I also thought, I was like, well, maybe he's trying to like juice, or he probably just lost like a lot of muscle. I could tell a difference in him, but I didn't see like, oh, he's sick. And he still looked like positive and like upbeat in those films. And even to piggyback off what Wayne said, like he never let us know anything, so he kept that to himself and still was able to accomplish something in that small amount of time. So we should be able to take something from like what he did, and like that amount of time, like he impacted like so many people's lives. Think of all the kids, all like elementary school, middle school, high school, adults. You know what I'm saying? Like elderly people that like looked up to this guy like playing Black Panther, and he did it in a very. It wasn't like he had been acting. I don't know how long he's been acting, but as far as me seeing him act on like a high caliber level, I've seen it from like the Avenger films. So it wasn't really that long that we were introduced to him as like a major figure in Hollywood, and he got taken away like so quickly. So
yeah, I mean, piggyback on what Jose said too. You brought up a good point. I mean, unfortunately, we see death a lot in the hip hop community in general. So it's not something that's necessarily new. But one
yeah,
thing I noticed, a lot of times in rap specifically, we see a lot of people get their flowers after they're gone. Like we see a lot of people get recognized, and a lot of people given like all this praise and all this glory after they're away. The one little bit of peace I think I took away from this is, at least with Chad, we saw this high level of praise and people like really giving him attention and really truly giving him his flowers
Yeah.
while he was still here. So I think that's one positive takeaway I could take from it at least. And like Jose said, like he wasn't a household name per se when he kind of got launched into like the MCU, but like for him to take that role and it just to take it and it just become a like one to take a character that's not well known, but two, like, so you're taking an actor that's not super well known, you're taking a role and a character that's not well known and turn it into this global phenomenon. It's just like yo, and it's just like, and really with Black Panther specifically, it was just like it was like a joyous occasion. It was like it was like Black excellence on a major level. So it's like it was really like for at least for me, like it felt like a collective win. Like it was definitely a moment, but it felt like what it was a representation on a mass level. Like we've seen Black movies, but we never. I don't think this is my first experience seeing a truly majority Black film, Black leading cast on a very very large platform. So it was just different, and to see it hit not only in the Black community, but to see it hit like globally. Like you was legit see like white kids like shopping for trick or treating for Halloween. Like, yo, mom, I want to be Black Panther. Like that was
yeah,
like that is a dope like feeling, like, and I feel like we take for granted a lot of times the power of impact and the power of entertainment sometimes, because like honestly, like to see young, especially young people, one, it's twofold. Like to see young Black kids look at the screen and see somebody and say, you know what, that's me, and they identify with that. But two, to see young white kids, to see young Asian kids, to see young Hispanic kids look at Black Panther and say, you know what, I want to be that. Like you see a high level, like high quality Black example of what Black excellence look like, and they even want to live up to that. So I think it's just a powerful thing. I think it's powerful in the sense that it can move us forward in the right direction, especially when we look at talk about just race relations in this country specifically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
yeah. I
and
definitely agree
another
with that.
thing that I realized too, and another thing I realized too about his life and his legacy is that him dealing with his disease, the amount of which he got done. He did a lot within that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That stuck out to me as well. You know what I mean? And that's inspiration. Like, dang, he was going through a lot and still, managed to perform, like we said, a high level. So I think that was just dope.
It definitely speaks to who he was as a person, like who he was as a professional, and it's really. I think if we could take anything away from his passing, I think a lot of us are gonna be very reflective about one, being appreciative of the time we have, because you don't know what is up. Number one, but two, maximizing your potential and getting the most while you're here. You know, like to know somebody's battling a deadly disease, knowing it, and to see him knock all these amazing projects out back to back to back to back.
Yeah,
I let you know. I think that
extremely high level.
Let you know about life.
It gives you no place. Like for me, I feel like I have no room to complain. You know what I'm saying? It just gives you a little perspective. Like, yo, what are you doing right
now? Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, I look at it as man, inspiration. Like, man, like,
oh, definitely, man.
Not even just like I said, not even just his roles in a movie, but the other things.
Just in life,
the inspiration, motivation, just life, like you say, just life.
Yeah, man, definitely. Oh man,
you know what I'm saying? Like, dope, man, just real dope. I went out though.
Right. Listen, let's apologize up front. This is not your traditional episode of Last of Hip Hop Podcast. This is gonna be a heavy episode, but it only felt right for us to come in. Like, we had a whole plan. Like, me and Max literally was chopping it up on the phone for like almost 2 hours last night about the next episode. And then got the news of this. It was just like, man, it's like
right after we got off the phone.
Right after we got on the phone, yeah. Matter of fact, I was supposed to call you back.
Yeah, I was supposed to call you guys back too. Yeah, when I got that text, it was just like crazy. I had to sit and think and ponder.
Yo, I thought you didn't want to come back because the convo was just so deep.
No, listen,
nah, bro. No, it had nothing to do with the convo. Like, I was doing something, and then I got a text. When I got that text was like ruined my whole like. I was like, yo, you got to be kidding me.
Nah, you was ducking that wreck because that was before that happened.
Oh,
I mean, that's your personal opinion. That's not a fact. I mean, that's something that that's something that Donald Trump Jr. would say, but
these guys here.
I mean, we gonna get on the conversation, and we gonna definitely make sure
we gonna journey that next. We gonna journey that next.
We gonna make sure we keep it educated, and we gonna make sure we present facts and not opinions. I mean, anybody can make an opinion and make a hypothesis.
Yo, that's a lot. Wow, Donald Trump Jr. That's how we're playing, huh?
I'm just saying, a monkey can make a hypothesis. I'm just saying.
Oh man.
Hey, you was ducking. You was ducking.
Listen. I appreciate your enthusiasm and your chatter is very flabbergasted. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But when we get to the serious topics, I mean, listen. You know.
So judging by the current conversation, the current climate, you can see that we're in for a very, very, very engaging episode. So, before we get there, just want to take another few moments. Again, this episode is dedicated to Chad. Like, we would be remiss not to mention him, not to pay homage to him. We appreciate you for the time you were here. Your contributions were amazing. Your legacy won't be forgotten. Real talk. Wakanda forever. Chadwick forever. All right, so let's move in to the meat of today's episode. Again, today's episode, like, just with everything going on in today's climate, let me start by saying this. Like, objective-wise, this platform was never created for us to be political, so to speak. To be super revolutionary, but it's kind of organically gone there. Just in the nature of who we are as people. I think the climate of today's America has kind of demanded a certain level of being vocal. So I feel like we would be remiss not to use our platform to speak on these things. And the unique thing is, like, me, Jose, and Max don't see eye to eye on everything. But I think the conversation It's what drives our friendship. It's what drives growth. It's what drives change. So we wanted to use our platform to share those views with you guys to keep the conversation going, and to figure out next steps. Talk about where we are, what we hope to see, and what the future holds. So with that being said, let's hop right into it. We're gonna discuss a few things. We're gonna start with police brutality. I mean, it's been heavy in the news lately. We're gonna talk about a little bit about Jacob Blake and just police brutality in general, race relations, the Black community dealing with the police, our relationship with the police, and just kind of throw it up in the air and go from there. So Jose,
and defund police. Is that what that's how you say it?
Defund the police. Yes. But Max, you want to jump in?
No, I'm just saying, is that the wave? Like, we gonna defund the police now?
I think we're gonna talk
what's
about
the next step?
I think there's a lot. Well, I'll start. So I think we'll start with terms of police in general. Policing, defund the police has been something very big topic of conversation. I think, just personally, when it comes to, and I'm talking about me and mine. So I'm very radical in that sense because I look out for me. When I say me and mine, I refer to the African American community, like Black people. Like I love all Black people, and I feel like we need a strong platform for ourselves first before we can move forward and ask and demand a lot of things from other people. So the term defund the police has been coming up. I think just in the Black community in general, like we've had I don't think at any point we've had a solid, strong relationship with policing in this country. I mean, even the police force as we know it is an offshoot of the slave patrol. So it's literally a direct descendant of an organization of people that was designed to wrangle slaves. So I think even in its founding is kind of this historical beef with Black bodies, and I think it all leads into the conversation we're having. So I think when people say defund the police, I think some people take it literally as if we're saying take away their money, eradicate the police, just toss it out. And I don't think that's what it is. I think the real conversation we need to be having is, because listen, this is one thing too. I tell people all the time. I say, as radical as I am, I don't have the best relationship with the police, but I still lean on them. Like if something major were to happen, yeah, I'm still gonna lean on the law. That's just what it is. Right. I think we have significant and structural issues with the way that police have operated in this country. So I think when we say defund the police, we're talking about restructuring. How do we eliminate police brutality in Black communities? How do we eliminate police murders of Black bodies at a disproportionate rate? How do we eliminate police not being held accountable for the actions when these things happen? So I think all these things are topics of conversation when we talk about defund the police, not eradicate, but to defund. Let's remove some money.
I think
it's restructure.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people feel like, eradicating the police, which is, I don't know if that's a good idea, but I think when people hear about defunding, they want to eradicate. I'm not feeling that, because you need somebody patrolling, you need somebody, you need people out here.
I want to put a bug in your ear, Max. I want to put a bug in your ear.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to say my community per se, because my community is like your best community, but impoverished Black communities where the inner cities, as our boy Donnie says, right? A lot of times the police are viewed. A lot of times the police are viewed as the problem. The only time they come to those communities is to not to help, but to rile shit up, to kick ass. Like I'm here not to protect and serve. I'm here to police, right? So in those communities, especially when it's running rampant, we talk about how terrible these communities are. Things are running rampant. To me, it sounds like the police aren't doing their job. If your job to protect and serve, whose fault is it? Is it the people's fault because they live there, or is it the police fault because they only show up when shit's going down? So to be honest, like if the police was gone, would those communities change that much, or would it be an issue for communities that the police respect? Because a lot of the conversation I hear about, we can't defund the police. Y'all saying that because the police protect y'all. The police don't protect me. When I get pulled over, I feel like my life's most at danger. So to be honest, listen, and this is the crazy part, right? If something goes down, I had to think in the back of my head, you know what? Do I want to call the police? Because this may make it worse for me. Like these are real conversations like that Black people have to have in their communities. So you gotta think, like, is defund the police? Is it gonna be that much issue for us, or is it gonna be issues of people that they actually respect and they actually protect and serve? The police only police us. They police us. They don't protect and serve us. They don't protect. They definitely don't protect, and they definitely don't serve.
No, when I think about defunding, I don't think of, like I said, I don't think about eradicating police, but like you just said, restructuring the whole, infrastructure of police, the police force and what they should be doing in our communities. But I kind of agree with you about that. What you just said. Will it be too much of a difference? Are they the issue?
And that's just me playing devil's. That's just me playing devil's advocate.
Are they causing a lot of the problem?
Listen, and that's just me playing devil's advocate. Think about this though, right? Right? Think about this, right? I'm just playing devil's advocate by saying that, and that's just me being extreme. But think about this, right? Why is the idea? Because that's what defund the police is at the end of the day. It's about restructuring. Let's make sure this is running effectively and correctly. Right. So think about the idea of that. So if that's what this is about, why is restructuring the police force to make sure they're treating everybody fairly such a big issue? That's the thing. That's what bothers me. Mm-hmm. Like we clearly see that Black people are being disproportionately abused by the people that are here. They're supposed to protect us, right? So why do we say? And really, everything that comes out of that becomes a controversial statement. Defund the police. Let's restructure. Listen, and again, it's never a radical approach to where we say we're never saying fuck it, get rid of it, right? It's always a peaceful. Very action item based ideas, and they're always met with this idea of we can't do that. Like these radical, it's not radical. We telling you like, listen, Black people are disproportionately being murdered. Black people are disproportionately being abused. Black people are disproportionately being underserved, and we're saying we need to restructure this, not eliminate it, not get rid of it. We need to restructure this so that it works for everybody. And when you say that, it becomes a controversial statement. What do you mean we need to restructure it? What's wrong with it? And if you say to yourself, if you go to sleep at night saying, what's wrong with this? You're part of the problem.
Right. No, I agree with you.
Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, for real, like anything that involves a Black person saying, hey, like, you're mistreating me. We don't need to do this anymore. It becomes a controversial statement. Black Lives Matter is a controversial statement.
Right.
Civil rights was a controversial statement. Separate but equal was a controversial statement. Why?
I mean,
why is treating me fair controversial?
Are we beating on the dead? Wait. Are we beating on the dead horse?
Listen, the police. Listen. The police beat on dead horses, and the dead horse called niggas.
But see, Max, and when it comes to this, sometimes it can be very flabbergasted. I see you trolling and you looking at the situation from a comical standpoint, but as a whole, like white people, they do not have the same experiences that people of color have when it comes to policing and police brutality. They do not have it. And in my opinion, I just feel like it's very condescending to look at these situations and laugh when people of color are actually being murdered and actually being killed. I mean, this is like a serious situation. Listen. I'm just making a personal.
What they got to do with dog?
I'm just saying. Listen. I've sat here,
You taking
and
a
I've
serious?
listened.
You taking a serious situation?
No,
I'm
not.
I wouldn't laugh at that. Come on.
I'm just saying. Listen, as men, we have to be able to sit there and listen and be
Now you trolling
tied
me right now.
to constructive criticism. I mean, we need to be able to do that. We need to be able to talk as men, and we need to be able to agree, and we need to be able to disagree.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
right, but don't bring a serious
I'm just looking at your actions. Like the way I look at this situation is, number one, like we're humans, and our civil rights are being violated, and our human rights are being violated because we are not being treated the same. The laws and the entities that are in place that are supposed to protect us aren't doing it. This is not like rocket science. This is not like, oh, well, we're trying to get from Earth to Saturn. Like, this is just basic human rights. You should not be killing individuals that do not deserve that type of behavior. You know what I'm saying? We see this time and time again, and as people of
this ain't
color,
nothing new.
we have to. No, I understand that, but we have to stop. How can I put this? Making excuses for.
Let me help.
Making excuses for the powers of treating us like this.
I think Jose made a good point. Let me jump in a little bit. Jose makes a very good point as far as like when it comes to making excuses. I don't even know if it's making excuses. I don't know if it's so much an excuse or if we allow the system and the powers that be a scapegoat for their actions and why they do what they do, right?
You saying they being scapegoat? You say you feel like
they're being I'm gonna give you an example, right? I'm gonna give you a quick example. So, and I can talk about this now, but I bought a product from a company. I never received the product. I called the company to say I didn't receive the product, and while we're having the conversation, the company decides to say, hey, I'm going to call you the N-word 2 times, and what I'm saying, and I'm going to disconnect the call. So it's like when people are looking at the situation, like one of my parents has said, well, maybe if you didn't buy the product because of the pandemic, he would never called you that. But what does the pandemic or me buying the product have to do with him calling me the N-word? And it's like we always do that, like our parents or people in the Black community, they always try to say like, well, if you weren't here at this time, then it would never happen. But I'm already here. So is it a crime for me to be at this place? Did I deserve to get killed, or did I deserve it? Because I did this, did I deserve this? Like I've heard people, white and Black people, they will bring, like the people that are being mistreated, they will bring up irrelevant facts that have nothing to do with the person being treated the way they were. Somebody might bring up their criminal history, somebody might bring up their background, but none of that has to do with if that information doesn't change the outcome of how the police should have acted in that situation, then why would you bring it up?
Listen,
you see what I'm saying? Why do you bring it up? If that information doesn't change the outcome, why do you bring it up? And that's where Wayne is saying that you're using scapegoat to allow these higher powers to treat us the way that they want to treat us.
Listen, Jose,
it's not funny. It's serious.
I'm glad you bring it up. And I'm gonna say something real quick to kind of piggyback on that. Because listen, we had a conversation last night. We kind of talked about when I brought up being scapegoats in general. We often hear, and regardless of where it comes from, whether it comes from in-house, where Black people say you shouldn't have been there. If you didn't put, if this scenario was this scenario was this. I'm gonna say this: when it comes to police brutality and police murdering Black people, because I used to operate in the same space too, like just from a protection standpoint. I'm like, you know what? As long as I act, long as I move a certain way, long as I don't put myself in certain situations, I'm able to preserve my life, right? But historically, the more I've seen and the older I've gotten, and the more scenarios I've seen. For example, if you would comply, this wouldn't have happened. I've seen non-compliance, murder. I've seen compliance, murder. I've seen wrong place, wrong time, murder. I've seen people in places, people say he was in the wrong place, he was in the wrong place, murder. I've seen people in their homes, murdered. I've seen people call the police, get abused and murdered. Like, I have yet to see a scenario where the risk of bodily harm or murder changed the outcome based on what was going on. So I feel like when we talk about criminal records, when we talk about proximity, when we talk about compliance, like it's irrelevant because it's a damned if I do, damned if I don't situation. And it's got to the point where I found myself in situations where police can be involved, and I've had battles in my head about what do I do? Do I comply? Because I'm in a situation where police have gotten hostile. And I'm like, and I can hear the tone, and I'm like, yo, why is it? And in my head, I'm just like, yo, why is the dude getting hostile? I'm not doing nothing. Like, so it's like a lose-lose situation. That crazy stuff.
But you know what though? Like y'all come at me about, you know what I'm saying, like, right, the leftist, Democrat, Republican. But that's my thing with Republicans and conservatives, because a lot of them believe, like, they don't believe in victimhood and things like that. But at the same time, I feel like when it comes to that, what can you do when you're being targeted? You know what I'm saying? It's not a scapegoat type mentality. When I'm saying it's the powers that be that are controlling things, when they putting, things in the media, when police brutality is being heightened, we have to hear about every, we gotta, as soon as we look online, we see somebody get killed. You know what I'm saying? Every time we look up, it's someone getting killed at the hand of police. So we got to march, we got to protest, we got to go through all these motions because of this. Like, this is the monster that has been created. You know what I'm saying? Over and over again. So what do you want? So what comes of that? Destruction, chaos.
You touched a good point.
That's the result of everything from that.
You touched a good point a few times, matter of fact.
You know what I'm saying? Is this the destruction of America? Because that's all you're gonna do. If you keep hiding these.
Listen, Max, I'm about to go there. You touched two
go
good
ahead,
points.
We here. And Jose, you started.
You touched two good points. You touched two good points.
Hold on, I gotta get this man right quick.
No. Let me tackle this first. You just addressed it. So you talked about
what's up, man?
You talk about the monster that was created, and you talk about you also said it is what it is. So I'm glad you said that, because listen, this is what I've been saying a long time.
But you heard what I said about y'all be messing with me about going the right. But that's my problem with conservatives, is that they believe. Go ahead.
I think there's a thing though. I think the climate we're in, as much as I hate to say it, I think this is a gift and a curse, right? We've clearly been introduced to a climate that's very hostile, that's very aggressive toward Black people specifically. And again, I'm gonna speak from my perspective, because that's what I represent. But just in general, like, we've been forced to operate in a country that hasn't been here for us. It's almost like a good friend of mine, I heard say this on a live feed recently. She was like, and I'll say this too, as radical as I am, I love this country. I love this country.
I do too.
And this thing about it too, I was born and raised in South Carolina, rural South Carolina.
Yes.
I'm a proud South Carolinian. I rep South Carolina through and through. Everybody who know me was like, Jose, when you met me, where I say I was from? You heard me, Jose?
Yes, I heard you.
Like, when I met you, where I say I was from?
He's from South Carolina.
But where specifically though?
Darlington.
I could claim anywhere. I rep Darlington, South Carolina, because that's where I'm from. I'm proud of that, right? Knowing the historical context of where I'm from. I'm a proud South Carolinian, I'm a proud American, but I think the biggest thing is this. I understand the constructs of how we got here. I understand the historical foundation of how we got here. One thing I'm very cognizant of now as I've gotten older, in terms of race relations in this country, and to piggyback on what my friends said on a live feed, they're like, to be Black and to be an American and to live this country, it's almost like being in an abusive relationship, right? And like I love this person, like I love this person to death. I'm proud to say I'm a part of this, right? But they beat my ass constantly.
Mm-hmm.
But I still love this person, and I still love what this can be, right? So in that sense, it's a very traumatic experience just being operating in that space. How do you operate and live in a country? How do you love a country that don't love you back? And this country has proven this to us time and time and time again from the moment we got here. Like the country was founded, it was like the founding principles, the founding fathers, all those great sounding words that sound good on paper, that represent the ideals and beliefs of this country. That this country is about freedoms. This country is about choice. This country is about opportunity. Those words weren't written for you and me. And to be very specific, and I think if people would buy into it, a lot of people would be on my side as allies who don't look like us. They would realize, you know what? Those words weren't written for a lot of you guys either who buying into it. If you a woman, those words weren't written for you either. If you a white woman, those words weren't written for you either. And listen, I'm about to hit the nail on the head for real. If you are white and you are poor, those words weren't written for you either.
Yep.
Those words were written for the elite top 1% then. And the foundation of this country, those ideals have been remained true up until today, right? So you're operating a country on principles and ideals. So you're operating a country on ideals and principles that were founded for a very specific group of people, right? People say the infrastructure of America is broken, and the same thing with education. People say the system's broken, it's not working, it's not serving all people. The system's not broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. It was designed to serve and propel the top 1% of people. Same thing with education. School system was designed to educate the top 1%, the elite, send them to college, teach them how to get high profile jobs, and it's going to teach everybody else how to be tradesmen. Same thing with America. We're going to talk about the top 1%. It's going to give them the opportunity, give them everything they need, and we're going to build it on the backs of everybody else at whatever cost that makes. And if we fail to realize that this is what this country was founded on, and this is where we operate, because listen, people say race relations and black people, like we're being treated worse than ever. No, we're not. We just see it now. The same thing happening right now was happening in 1619 when we got here. The same thing that was happening now was happening when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. The same thing is happening now. The same thing happened in the Civil Rights Movement. It's no different. I think the only difference now is I'm seeing a fire that I haven't seen in young black people since. Well, I can't say I've seen it. Just historically, I'm seeing a fire in young black people who are being fed up
if ever
since the Civil Rights Movement.
But you know what? But you know what? Though, in circles I've been coming across, they've been saying like, "Yo, the thing about the millennials is that they don't care. Like, our age and younger, they don't have nothing to lose. They added, they on the front lines. They willing compared to any of those eras. That's what I've been hearing.
But this is what I say.
You know what I'm saying?
I would challenge.
Go at,
but this is the thing
whatever.
I say. This is what I say though. I challenge that mindset and I challenge that statement because revolutions have always started and ended with the young people. Even in situations where we're not talking about us. We look even with the founding fathers. Those people were very young. Those are very young people.
So you saying
who are frustrated and mad? Revolutions always start with young people. I think the thing is we look at the previous generation and we look at them at point B versus point A. You're looking at a person who is now old, whose priorities have changed, who are now. I think about my parents in general, right? Or people my parents' age. We see a lot of people who are older. They come in, they now have families. Their priorities are different. Priorities are, my priority now is to make sure my family's straight. I'm gonna preserve my family, make sure I come home, make sure they're good every day at whatever cost. Versus when they were 18, 19, 20 years old, I got no family. I'm just a young radical kid. I'm out here in the streets. I'm out here making noise. I'm out here making moves, like doing the groundwork. That was them. Think about how young Martin Luther King was. Like when was just in general. Like these dudes were relatively young. Like and I still view myself as a very young person, even like going into my mid-30s. But looking back in historically, like all the popular figures that we look back and refer to, like they were very, very, very young people. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Tupac Shakur, Angela Davis, Huey P. Newton, all Fred Hamptons. All these cats were very young cats. Like if we were back in that time period with the age we are now, when they were doing what they're doing, we would be older than them. Like we would literally be older than them. So I think it's only natural that the movements and the rebellion, and I think it's just part of your rebellious spirit. Like there's a certain fire you still have in you when you're very young, because you don't have there's no need to be what am I scared of? I have no point of reference to be scared. Versus when you get older, I think my priorities, like I got a wife, I got kids, I need to take care of this. I got people to look out for. Like when your priorities change, you start thinking about, it's bigger than me.
So you don't see the difference, like so you're basically saying like it's always started with young people. It hasn't been. It's not a difference. Like
I don't think that much of a
like
difference.
What are they seeing in these in the millennials now compared to the ones before that came before?
I don't think there's much of a difference. I think the revolutions have always come from the young people. I just think now I think it's been pushed to the forefront now because it's so in your face. And I think that may be the difference now. Because in 1960, during the civil rights movement, race relations was in your face. Like people were being abused, people were being called out of their name.
Just like, just to piggyback your point as far as, going back to different eras, civil rights, 40, however how long this is, since slavery, like, so America doesn't plan to do anything about it. So we just gonna keep I think
that's the thing though. Like, I don't think we've ever.
So the turn-ups gonna get even worse. Basically, the turn-ups is gonna get even.
Listen, I believe that's true, Max. I believe until something's done about this, history has a
the turn-ups is gonna get even worse. Jose,
things are gonna get worse. But this is the thing about it, right? And this is my challenge. This is my challenge to Black America. We see. And yes, by no means am I going to say that we haven't made progress. I'm not going to sit here and say we haven't made any progress. I would be asinine to say that. But when you look at it in the day, like take a snapshot today and frame it versus a snapshot of yesterday, and take a snapshot, much hasn't changed. And I think the thing is, one, I think this is the ideal time because yes, we see the fire in young people now that we haven't seen since the 1960s, 1970s. But I think the primary difference between now and then is we don't have necessarily active leadership. I think that's the primary difference. You look at the 60s and 70s, like there were people out there who were leading the charge. I don't think we don't have a identified mouthpiece. So I think there's two things we need. We need leadership, number one.
I just feel like
one, we need leadership. Two, we need a detailed Black agenda, right? And three, we need an execution plan.
Everybody be on the same page. That's my question.
I think that's the real question, because I can't answer that question. I can't say yes or no. But
everybody may have different belief systems.
I believe that, but this is what I'm going to say though. We all have different belief systems. We all operate differently. But one thing I am sure of, if we don't get on the same page, and if we don't create an agenda, we're in for another 400 years of the same shit. That much is clear. Because at this point, it's been clear, and America has made a very clear message to Black America that, you know what, we're not going to give it to you, and we're not going to do it for you. So with that being said, we have to recognize at some point, either deal with what we have and say, this is the best it's going to get no better. Or we say, you know what, they're not going to give it to us. We physically have to take it. And that can happen. That can happen a few ways. It can happen. And listen, it can happen aggressively. It can happen peacefully. But what we have to have, number one, is a plan.
But we're trying to figure out if the Republican Party or the Democratic Party has a Black agenda. You know what I'm saying?
Too.
A lot of people are on
I'm glad you bring that up. I'm glad you bring it up. That can transition to our next topic. We're going to talk politics. We focus so heavily on Democrat, Republican. quite frankly, I'm saying this because I'm not political at all. But where I would say this, nobody has a black agenda, black people included. There is no, and I think that's what we need to put on the table. There is no black agenda. There is no black agenda at all. There's not one. And I think that's why it's so important for us as black people. Number one, we can only complain so much about Republicans or Democrats when we don't know what we want, right? Now, one thing I will say, I always say, black people are not a monolith. We're not the same. We don't operate the same. But I think we had to come to terms. But what I can say is, we're not the same. But when it comes to abuse and race relations, we have consistently been treated very differently than other people who don't look like us, right? So in that case,
right,
we're not the same. But they best believe they're looking at you the same. Whether you got $1 billion in your bank account, whether you live a paycheck to paycheck, most people who operate on the wrong side of history gonna look at you like a nigga. I don't give a damn. So with that being said, we need a plan.
Hey, Jose, I hit you with a curveball, didn't I?
No, you
I hit you with a curveball. You
listen,
think I was gonna go there? I had to go Republican on
you just haven't given me the opportunity to speak. And one of the greatest
I had to switch
advices,
it up for you.
but I'm just saying one of the greatest advices that I've heard recently, and I'm gonna live till I die with this advice. But I don't know where Nipsey Hussle got it from, but I'm quoting it from Nipsey Hussle. He was like, I would rather be at peace with myself and at war with the world than be at war with myself and at peace with the world. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's where our generation is coming from. Like our parents, they are satisfied and they are comfortable being at war with themselves and at peace with the world. But like as far as our generation and the generation that's coming behind us, we don't want to live like that. And me personally, I want to be at peace with the world and at war with myself because I'm going to be stressed out. I'd rather be at peace with myself. Like if I'm doing the right thing and doing what I'm supposed to do, and I see that there's issues that need to be accomplished, I'm going to go to war every day for that until the day I die, because at least I know that I gave everything that I was supposed to give. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Matt.
You know what I thought about just now? That's a good point. I think what you said, that's a great point. You know what I thought about? I thought about your man, Wayne, Jonathan Isaac, because the reason why I thought about Jonathan Isaac when you said that, I'd rather be at peace with myself than a war. I'd rather be at peace with myself than say it again. say that quote again, please.
I'd rather be at peace with myself than at war with the world.
Right. And he was just speaking his piece, but he got obliterated, right? When he got hurt, they was like, oh, that's what he get. That's the third. But he was being true to what he believed in as far as my
belief. Let me ask you a question.
Or with the
I do want, so do
the
you
high,
really feel
the higher power.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that he really was being at peace with himself? Or because I'm like, you have to ask yourself, as a black man, right? You really see people are being gunned down, right? So if you are at peace with yourself with seeing other black men get gunned down, and you are comfortable with that, then you really there's something deep down inside of you that you're not acknowledging. He
said.
I'm just saying we got to. Listen, listen. This is another point, because I went to a private school, right? And I've seen a lot of my classmates how they will say Black lives don't matter, right? Or they may make comments about white lives matter. Now, these are the same, not all of them now, because there's I do have some great white friends and people that I can have conversations with. But I have seen white people or Caucasian, I've definitely seen it. That I went to the same school. I went to a private Catholic school. So I went to the same school with them, right? I'm talking about we sat in the same classrooms, we ate in the same lunchrooms. I went to the same masses with them, right? We served the same God. But somehow, black people are being oppressed, and you're going to go out of your way to say white lives matter and black lives matter.
Hey, so Jose, let me jump in. Jose, let me jump in. Let me jump in. Jose, let me I gotta jump in because listen. We got a comment.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Finish. I'm gonna read a comment.
Let me finish. So if you really want to say that religion matters with the Isaac guy, right? Does religion really? Because are serving the same God
Hold on.
these people are serving, and they're telling me that there's
Let me
more
jump in.
going on.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in. Let me jump in.
Go ahead. This is getting
Kurt,
spicy,
explain.
bro.
No,
No,
let
wait,
me jump in first. Let me jump in first. I'm gonna read a few comments. We got a few comments. We got some good dialogue going in the comments. I want to read some of it. So one, peace doesn't equate to silence in 2020. So that's a big one. That refers to, I think that refers to Jonathan Isaac. And I'm gonna touch on Jonathan Isaac too in a minute. This one says, Max, that sounds like a complacency, bro. Oh, but okay.
Sounds like complacency. How?
I guess it's this is what I say about Jonathan Isaac. I think Jonathan Isaac. And
Hold on. Complacency. How?
This is what I think. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm taking on it. I don't think when Jonathan Isaac, I'm not going to vilify him either, because again, I say he's a young cat. You know, his life is very drastically different than most traditional Black Americans in this country, and he comes from a faith-based standpoint. But with him, I think Jonathan Isaac is a little naive and a little misguided in his approach, because yes, I can have a faith-based approach, but at the same time, like even from a faith-based approach, God says faith without work is dead, right? So I think Jonathan Isaacs, I think he means well. I think he's a young brother who means well. He's faith-based. He's faith-oriented, but at the same time, even when we think about faith-based scenario, we look at the leader of Black America at one point, Martin Luther King. Like,
I need whoever wrote that comment. Explain your comment, man. Whoever wrote that comment, explain your comment. And why my man Jonathan Isaac, when we talking about peace with himself, listen, you're not gonna get. Listen,
so
you're not gonna make peace if you peace with yourself.
Is it really about religion? You yourself that question.
Hold on.
I think he tries to
if you
use.
at peace with yourself, forget what the world say.
I think Jonathan that Black lives don't matter.
The world gonna have what they say regardless.
I think
I'm just saying these are the same people that call themselves. These are the same people that call themselves Christians. You have to ask yourself this. No, that's your problem. You don't care. That's your problem. You don't care.
I think Jonathan Isaac comes from a place of.
Hold on, are you taking it further? Hold on, are you taking it?
No, I'm not taking it further.
I can't hear you talk. I can't hear you talk.
No, I'm not taking it further. So what I'm trying to acknowledge to you and what I'm trying to explain is when it comes to, because I'm trying to be politically correct, sometimes when it comes to white people, right, and when they say that Black lives don't matter, we need to go back to Africa. I'm trying to think, blue lives matter. But these same people, hold on. Listen, let me finish. These same people go to the same church we go to, right? They pray to the same God we pray to, right?
Hey, I got something for you, Jose.
Listen, these the same people that burn crosses on our lines, right?
I got something for you, Jose.
Go ahead.
When you say they pray the same God,
ignorant people is ignorant people.
No, listen. But listen, I'm glad you brought that word up too, Max, because ignorance is a very strong word, and I'm glad you brought it up. Because ignorance is, there's nothing wrong with being ignorant. To be ignorant is to be absent of knowledge. These people aren't ignorant. They have the knowledge. They know what they're doing. They're not ignorant. They're now, you may say they're willfully ignorant. They choose to be ignorant. They know what they're doing. For example, I had a conversation with my mother about Jacob Blake's situation with the cop. My mom was like, why would he do that? He had so many other options. And I simply told my mom, I said, that cop unloaded on Jason Blake because that is truly what he wanted to do. He knew it, because listen, you don't accidentally fire 7 shots into somebody's back, right? That police officer made a decision. I don't know why he did it. I can't get in his head and say why. But what I can say is you chose to fire 7 shots at a man whose back was turned. For whatever reason it was, I don't know. But you felt like that was a good decision for you to make. So I can't say he's ignorant in the fact, because one, you're an officer, so I know you're trained. So I know you have some type of training because you're a police officer. But when Jose brings up these people who go to the same church we go to, and he says they pray to the same God, I don't know if they pray to the same God, Jose. because I'm about to challenge you. I'm about to challenge that.
Exactly.
And
I don't.
I think
They definitely don't play to the same God.
And I think this goes back to the founding of this country too. Christianity is a religion that was thrusted upon Africans who were brought to this country with the sole purpose of enslaving and mind controlling people, right? So I design, regardless of how it's depicted in the Bible, I'm going to depict Jesus as a blue-eyed, blonde-hair, white male, right? Because to be honest, I could depict Jesus to be anything. I could have made Jesus like Godzilla if I wanted to, but I very specifically designed Jesus to have blue eyes, blonde hair. He's going to be the image. One, they say we were creating an image of Jesus, but white Jesus was creating an image of white man, right? So I'm going to challenge you when I say this. So I use Christianity, I use Jesus to control my slaves, right? So I'm going to take it for, so when my slaves bow down, my slaves pray at night, they're praying to a man that looks like me. But I'm gonna take it a step further. Not only are you're not praying to Jesus per se. I designed white Jesus in my image. So when you guys pray at night, you pray to me. You're not praying to Jesus. You praying to me. And what's even more scary, when I pray at night, guess who I pray to? I'm praying to me too, as a white man. I kneel down at night, I look up and I see myself, and I pray to me. I said, you know what? Because you know why? Because white men historically, they view themselves as God. I'm God.
But you know what?
I'm God.
Hey,
so we see white police murdering black people. I'm God.
But at the end of the day,
I control who lives and dies.
At the end of the day, whatever your faith is, at the end of the day, if you believe in God or you don't, and if you do, you believe in a higher power, huh?
I believe in God. I just know he's not white.
Right. But I'm saying any type of corrupt, you got to answer to the higher. You got to
But think about the psychological piece of it. Though. You're right. But listen, think about a psychological standpoint. Because listen, we talk about 400 years of black brainwashing. We also have to think about 400 years of white brainwashing. So if I've been trained and conditioned to view myself as God, if I truly believe when I die and I'm answering to myself, do I feel like I'm not going to hell? I'm going to heaven. I did everything I was supposed to do.
They conditioned us to not answer authority and go to the Bible and say, if you live your life,
I hear what you're saying. You can psych yourself out all day you want to, but
is it
you have to ask yourself,
wrong.
Let me ask you a question. With all the Christian principles, right? With all the Christian principles, right?
The truth is the truth.
But
and
listen,
if you hold on, Jose. Hold on, make this point. Because at the end of the day, if you whitewashing or whatever the case, brainwashing people and you brainwashing yourself to believe that what you're doing is correct, but you're leading people, you're hypnotizing or whatever the case may be, and getting people to do manipulating and lying through evil to get them to carry out your mission. That's not right.
But
I'm not saying to commit evil. I'm not saying to commit evil.
This is what you gotta think about though. Because we talk about no, you're right though. But listen, the truth, right and wrong, is subjective. If I grew up my entire life believing the truth was something that wasn't the truth, I can only operate from the space I understand. So as a slave, I can only operate from the space I understand, right? If I was taught that, you know what, if I'm an obedient slave, if I worship my master, regardless of the beatings, regardless of the abuse, regardless of everything I go through, if I can make it through this physical life, if I'm a good slave, I'm going to make it to heaven. And that's what I was taught believing. I'm going to be brainwashed, but I don't know I'm being brainwashed. I'm just going off what I know. This is all I've been taught.
And
right. That's the case. If you're doing it like that, then if you've been taught and you doing what's right, and no matter what that's between you and God at the end of it. That's between the slave master and God.
Let me make a statement about the conditioning of brainwashing.
You wouldn't know if you being hypnotized, if you being brainwashed, you wouldn't know. But if that person's leading you to carry out that mission, that's between you gotta let God handle that at the end of the day.
Let me ask you a question, and that could be a problem too. You're trying to dictate what God wants you to do and what God doesn't want you to do, and you're not God, number one. Number two, from my experiences from South Carolina, Monday through Friday, I literally seen.
Hold on.
And I
You
can
trying to say for the slave owner, right? You saying for the slave owner, right?
Yeah.
For that.
Yes, I'm coming from that. Yeah, I'm coming. But listen, Monday through Friday.
Are you talking about the slave owner?
Yes. But let me finish my statement. So Monday through Friday in South Carolina, you literally can be turned away from any restaurant, any store, for any reason, right? Saturdays, football games. You can literally go to any restaurant or any place and literally sit next to a white person. As long as you are a football fan with them, it is great. You can have a good time. That's a connection. Sunday, you can go to church with this same person, right? And everything is good because you're in church. And then on Monday, everything that you did on Saturday and Sunday doesn't exist anymore. Now it's, what can I do to keep this person down, right? And you have to ask yourself as a black person, we continue to say that this is what God wants us to go through, right? But the other color, they're not being punished. They're prospering. They're prospering from generation to generation. They're not being affected when it comes to like monetizing. They're not being affected at all. We're the ones that are still in the same conditions, right? So at that point, you have to ask yourself, right? So are you going to still continue to live in that fairy tale world, or are you going to take what needs to be taken and demand respect and justice? Because they do that with you. If they want justice and they want respect, they are going to demand for it, and they are going to get it. If you go out and kill a white person, Max, you are going to be, listen, there's nothing you can run away from. You are going to be convicted, right? You're going to jail the same day. We've literally seen a white person, a teenager, literally kill somebody, walk down the street, people identify him as the shooter, and they let him go. It doesn't happen in our world. So at that point, that's why people are tired, and that's why people are upset. And sometimes I feel that people try to say what God wants you to do, but you're not God. God is unknowing. We don't know. God is unknowing. So everybody is trying to portray.
I mean, right is right, is wrong is wrong. I mean, I ain't gonna keep it. Let's
do this. Let's do this. Give me a second. Let's do this. So let's try to.
Right is right, is wrong is wrong.
Yeah, but hold on. Let's do this. Let's try to, because both of y'all making good points. But again, I think that's why I led with, and this is good too, because we all have the very drastically different views on how everything works from person to person. So
forget this ball, man.
No. That's what I'm doing. I'm tying the pieces together. So, because Max, you make a good point, and Jose makes a good point too. So, this is the thing, and then this is where I'm coming from. Because Max, you make a very good point in right is right, wrong versus wrong. I think the issue with that is these are subjective terms, right? Because if, for example, like when you think about children, right?
Very subjective.
If you raise children and they never learn right from wrong, they will do things and they will act out in ways, and they'll do stuff they'll do things that are wrong, but they were never corrected or they were never told like, hey, you can't do that. That's
very
wrong.
Subjective.
So in their eyes,
somebody be like,
in their eyes, I just wanted to do it. I didn't know.
I thought that was right. I thought that was right, but it's wrong. It's right. It's very subjective because a lot of people be like, man, that ain't.
You find a few things. You find people. You get a few options. You get people who grow up to operate from a space where I know right from wrong, and I choose to do what I want because no one ever told me about it, no one corrected me about it. Or you get people who are, like you said, ignorant.
Exactly.
I do things incorrectly
because
I do things I simply don't know. But we have a mix of that. So we have people out here that are doing things purposefully. Like I know what's up?
Hey Wayne, you know what's funny about that? When I said right is right, wrong is wrong, that was like it felt so I felt everything you're saying now. Like I felt like I was being broad. Like that like a lot of people wrongs, they might feel it's right. You know what I'm saying? So that's like very subjective. Like so I mean whatever you deem is right, I mean,
and I'm glad
you know what I'm saying? Like because a lot of people.
And I'm glad you bring it up, Max, especially when we're talking politics, police brutality in general. Because listen, I'm very much a right versus wrong person. And we but we're gonna try to wrap up we still got a few more segments to hit. So we're gonna try to wrap this up. But what we do, we'll continue this conversation on the after show.
Yeah, go ahead. It ain't election time, so we got time.
It's good conversation.
To get to it.
So I'm gonna wrap this up in terms of.
We ain't done. It's part two.
I think the biggest thing.
I hit him with a curveball with that Republican.
Listen.
No, you never hit me with a curveball.
If the curveball out of the strike, hey, listen. If the curveball out of the strike zone, it's still a strike.
Hey, Wayne, I surprised you with that one.
No, you don't. I'm
really surprised by. I'm really surprised by Max.
But let me explain that, because a lot of right don't feel. They feel like let's not talk about.
All right, let's do this. Good. We can go all day. All right, we're gonna give everybody.
No, we done. We done with that. We done with it.
You done? You don't want a final thought?
We done with it.
Final thought. All right, so we'll go.
Final thought. Oh,
you want a final thought before we wrap? You got a minute.
Jose
first. Jose, you first. You got a minute. I'm putting you on the clock. Hold on. I'm gonna stay there. Start. All right, 1 minute. Go.
Okay, what are we doing again? Just to verify.
Your final thought. You got 55 seconds.
My final thoughts.
Your final thought, yeah.
On the topic we're talking about. So
on this entire topic, I feel that we need to be more militant, and we need to fight for the injustices that we are doing right now. I feel that us, like making this a joke, laughing, trolling, I don't feel like that's going to lead us nowhere. There's a million questions that we have to ask ourselves as a
making it as a joke and trolling? What are you talking about?
It's all the time.
Yeah, you're talking in my turn, but I mean that's all I have to say. That's a prime example of people not, taking this topic serious. You know what I'm saying? I pray for those people, and I hope they take it serious one day.
All right, thank you, Jose. All right, Max Speed, you got 1 minute starting now.
Man, everybody. Listen, I don't need a minute, man. What are you talking about as far as nobody taking it serious? This is a very serious topic.
This your minute. This your minute.
Everybody's being. I'm trying to figure out what is he talking about.
No, it's not. It's not rebuttal time.
I'm trying to figure out where you're coming from with that.
This minute to get your. We'll discuss on after show.
Hold on. But well, he got to explain that though. Because that kind of threw me off though. Like what you talking about? It's a very serious matter. It's a very serious matter. I mean, I don't really have. I'm done with. I said what I had to say. I said what I had to say, but he kind of threw me off with that. Well, I need him to explain what he's talking about, because are you talking about Jonathan Isaac, or are you talking about me, or who are you talking about?
We'll discuss on the after show. All right, my minute. All right, so this is where I stand. This is Dwayne's minute, and Dwayne's radical reform in 1 minute. So what we need a black agenda. Black people, I'm talking to you. We need a collective black agenda. We need to figure out what we want. We need to figure out how we're going to get what we want. We need to decide how we're going to accomplish that. And then we need to talk about how we're going to hold, if one or two things. We can either stay in America or we can leave America. But if we stay in America, we need to hold politicians accountable. Forget the Republican Party, forget the Democratic Party. Whoever's in power, who's ever in office, we need to hold accountable. We need to figure out what we want. What are our list of demands? Because until there's a black agenda, a collective black agenda, the politicians cannot have a black agenda if we don't have a black agenda. So this is a radical time. Keep the energy, but we need to take this time, find leadership, and move those ideas forward and figure out how to either deal with what we have collectively now, or push forward and get what we want. That's my minute. That was great.
Hold on, but I think he needs to explain that though, Kurt. Wayne.
We'll explain during the after show. Time is up. So we can do this all night.
Appreciate that, Wayne. Appreciate that.
All right. So let's move into, and it kind of focuses right into our false narrative. So today's false narrative, it flies right into it. Quite frankly, the false narrative for today is, I'll lead it, all lives matter. All lives matter is a false narrative. And the reason I say, I'm going to start first. The reason I say all lives matter is a false narrative, because if Black Lives Matter is not a real thing, all lives can't matter. And listen, just a comedian take on this, right? We have two dueling factions, right? We got Black Lives Matter, we got All Lives Matter, battling it out over here. And I think the issue is this. I think the issue at the end of the day is maybe we're battling this out because neither of those statements are true. Black Lives Matter isn't true. All Lives Matter isn't true. So I think we need to figure out what's going on. Like, I think All Lives Matter, number one, is an offshoot of, it's a distraction. It's a distraction from the problem at hand. It's a distraction from the idea that Black people are being mistreated, and we're not here for it at this point. And I think All Lives Matter is just a simple, like, what do you mean all Black Lives Matter? Like, all lives matter. Like, so I think it's simply a distraction. I think with that, until Black Lives Matter, until women lives matter, until Hispanic lives matter, until trans lives matter, until whoever, fill in the blank, lives matter across the board, all lives can't matter. And especially when we talk about Blue Lives Matter, I really hate that because, number one, if you're a cop and you die in the line of duty, that's unfortunate, right? But at the end of the day, as a cop, you chose that profession. I didn't wake up and choose my skin color. I didn't choose to be Black today. And equating a Black person being murdered and a Black person dying to a person dying in the line of duty for their job is dismissive. So I'm gonna pass it to whoever wants to take it next. What's your take on All Lives Matter being a false narrative? I didn't wake up and choose my skin.
All Lives Matter is a false narrative.
It is a false narrative because it's not true.
I mean, what do we matter? I mean, what does it matter to? I'm trying to say, like, no, let's really scale it. Like, let's really.
I'm talking about point blank period. Like, I'm not talking about myself.
I mean, let's not make this difficult. Let's not make this complicated. Like, if your life,
people are making it difficult. People are making it difficult because they fail to realize they want me to admit that my life is the same as anybody else's life, and I see on my day-to-day living that's not the case. That's just not the case. I mean, I know I matter, but the thing is, like, I can matter to myself all day. If I'm in an abusive relationship, you beat my ass. I mean, am I gonna sit and take it and be like, oh, I know I matter, but I'm gonna let you beat my ass? No. I mean, I'm gonna hold you accountable. Okay. Either I'm gonna call you on it, you're gonna stop beating my ass. Number two, a couple things will happen to make a correlation to Black America. You beat my ass. One, I can leave. That's a true thing. You ain't gonna beat my ass no more. I'm out. Or two, this is what's gonna happen next, and this is what America need to be scared of. I'm gonna beat your ass back, and then we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, but that's what we talked about earlier. When that's basically what we were talking about earlier. Like when things just going haywire, and that's basically is it going to come down to that?
We listen, Max. I'm scared for this. I'm really scared of this country. I think we're on the verge.
We don't want it to happen, but I mean,
I don't want it to happen, but I think we're on the verge.
If we keep getting these false narratives,
listen, we're on the verge of it, Max. Listen, I used to be the most. Again, right. I love America. Listen, I love America. I'm a proud South Carolinian. I'm a proud American. But the older I get, the more frustrated I get, and the more rebellious, and the more of like, you know what? I'm like, you know what? I'm 2 seconds away from like, you know what? We about to go. Either go to Africa or
because if the powers that be aren't working with you, then it's like, what else can you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because so they're going to, if they keep hiding, then they keep, orchestrating these.
Listen, Pac said it.
Go ahead. We in it. I ain't going to trip. You got it.
Pac did an interview a long time ago. He was like, he's like, civil rights movement. We were out. We're singing. We're out singing our way in, singing Negro spirituals. Talking about. Just singing, being peaceful, like for example, you hungry, right? He's like, the scenario he made, he was like, he said, you hungry, and he said, you walk up to this door and you see people in there throwing food around, having parties, just slinging food around. He said, initially, you're gonna come to that door and you're gonna try to sing your way in. You're gonna come to the door, you're like, we are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. He said, in about 2 weeks, you're gonna be knocking at the door. Like, we are hungry, we need some food. We are hungry, we need some food. He said, until eventually, he's like, I'm picking a lock, I'm coming through the door blasting. You're gonna frustrate people to the point to there's no return. Like, I'm gonna ask you nicely the first time. I may get a little more, I may get a little more bass in my voice the second time, but it's gonna come to a point where I'm gonna get aggressive and I'm gonna listen. If you're not gonna give it to me, I'm at least attempt to take it. Because guess what? If I don't get no food, I'm gonna die by natural selection anyway. So I'm willing to risk death. I'm willing to risk death to take what I need if I'm gonna die in my current state. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're on the verge of that. Like we're in a dangerous.
I mean, if America's ready for that, then hey, let's get it.
But that's the thing
If
about it.
America's ready for that.
I don't think America's gonna be ready for it, and that's what's gonna spark. That's what's gonna spark issue.
You know what I'm saying? If America's ready for that type of action.
I mean, this is my take on the situation when it comes to the false narrative, all lives matter. If there's an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a known issue, right? And we present it to the world or to the entire U.S. and say, hey, this isn't an issue. We've seen so many people die on video, and you want to come out of character, and you want to say that white lives matter, right? Or blue lives matter, but black lives matter never said that your lives didn't matter. So what is the true reason of you actually saying blue lives matter and white lives matter when we say black lives matter, when we have documentation and we have evidence of people of color being mistreated? So those are questions that people that say those things, they can't answer that. It's like a lot of the times it's like the facts or the opinions that they say, it doesn't change the outcome of us saying that Black Lives Matter. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, say for an example, like George Floyd, right? It's crazy that the way that he died, we say that, hey, we need to be treated better, Black Lives Matter. But you go and say white lives matter. But why are you saying white lives matter? We didn't say it didn't matter. So at that point, you have to start looking at the reasons why they are saying white lives matter. And a lot of the times we don't want to look at that, or some individuals don't. We want to pretend, and we want to pretend and say like, oh well, they're we see where they're coming from. We know where they're coming from. We know what type of place they're coming from. But again, we have this false narrative. It can be a whole nother false narrative of how we blame ourselves sometimes for being in situations where we're mistreated.
We've been taught that. I mean, it's unfortunate. We've been
taught. I will refuse. I refuse to ever allow someone. Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. So all lives matter is basically them twisting it. Whoever's twisting it around, because we know, okay, it's not. I think it's definitely a twist. Like it's definitely the confused thing, because we know what's going on.
It's not a confusion thing. They know why they're saying it.
Black Lives Matter.
It's not a confusion thing.
But I think that's what it is.
It's definitely
trying to confuse people.
It definitely got twisted.
They're trying to confuse people, but we know better.
Yeah, it's a confusion. So everybody. Because I've heard, it's black. It's black.
That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do.
Things like that.
That's what they want to do. They want to confuse people. They want people to take their eyes off the radar. They want to be like, what, all lives do matter.
Like I never understood how when a black man gets gunned down, the first thing you say, no, not you, but the first thing someone says is blue lives matter.
Let's get all the details. Let's make sure we get all the details.
That's stupid. Hold on. Would you
like,
say
why would you say like
if a black person get killed? Well, let's get all the facts first. It's not even a tragedy until we can verify that this person was a saint. Listen,
I'm just saying, it's like what I'm trying to say is like the rebuttals that we hear from this. It comes from a place of disrespect, and it comes from a place of hatred. And the reason why I say that is a lot of these cases, the media or people will go dig up dirt that has nothing to change the outcome of that situation. They're gonna bring up, he frauded a bank, or he sold drugs, or they try to paint this person into a villain to justify the police's actions, and it's like those things don't even change the outcome of the police's ability to do his job. So why are you even bringing this up? It doesn't matter.
I got one for you, Jose.
Hey, yo, can I say something right quick?
He was a troubled young man. He got suspended in the 6th grade. He didn't have a father in the home. But listen, at the end of the day, listen, I hate to say it. I don't like using aggressive language on it. I don't like using aggressive language.
Hey, yo, can I say this?
All that. Look, fuck all that. I don't care if he did. I don't care if he the biggest drug kingpin in the world. Why are you murdering motherfuckers that you standing an arm's reach of?
Yo, so as far as the all lives matter, like is that like an oxymoron? Cause think about it, like is that an oxymoron? Think about it, like because
in my opinion, it comes from hatred. It comes from hatred.
Like,
why are you saying that?
Like, am I tripping?
No, you're not. It's like, why are you saying all lives matter? It's like, say for example, you come on TV. And you say
we know all lives matter. Like on a simple level.
We already know that.
On one simple level.
You say all lives didn't matter.
Hold on, no. Let me challenge that.
All right, that's all.
Let me challenge that. And this is where we need to really stop and think and be very, 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 very mindful of this, right? Because Matt, you said something powerful just now.
But all lives matter. Listen. It doesn't need to be said in that case. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, but that's the point. You said something very powerful now. You said we know all lives matter. We know, this is what we know. We know all lives should matter. We know all lives should matter.
We all know,
what black people have finally realized is, you know what? Black lives, and I hate for this to even come out of my mouth. Black lives in this country don't matter. Or excuse me, they matter in certain cases. If I can entertain you, okay,
what does it matter?
Your life matter a little bit. Your life matter a little bit. I can dribble a basketball. Your life matter a little bit. You could shop in my store. You could give me some money. You could contribute to the economy. Your life values a little bit, but your value of life, I give a fuck 100. About.
Nah, we
that's
don't.
The thing, and that's the thing. A lot of black people are waking up and realizing now. You know what? No, your black life don't matter. Your black life don't matter. And listen, step 1 is us realizing it. Step 2 is number 2. I don't think they don't realize it. Step 2 is y'all recognizing that black lives don't matter, and y'all need to do something about it. And I'm dropping my mic.
Right. So if you don't do anything, everything's just going. We just gonna keep going through it till raise hell and burn it down city. So if that's the that's the outcome.
I'll say this, Max, and we had this conversation last night. I think black people historically, and I think black people. I think this might be a genetic thing. I think black people just genetically are very, very, very peaceful, very, very, very forgiving, very understanding people by nature.
Because we like to enjoy ourselves.
We like to enjoy ourselves.
We like to create and do fun stuff.
We like to pull people in and make them feel a part of whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
But somewhere
you see that on a daily basis.
But listen, somewhere along the line,
bro, we don't have an issue with nobody coming into our culture. We done got to a point we don't even mind who used the N-word. Like,
exactly, we're the most understanding, inclusive, in my opinion, the most understanding, inclusive people on this earth, right?
Yo, I was online the other day. I was online the other day. It was a little white kid, like 10 years old, using the N-word crazy. I think I sent it to y'all. He was just using the N-word. He was around black people too. So,
man, listen. We're talking about this at work one day, right? Listen, white people in all black spaces are 100 times more comfortable than black people in all white spaces. Because black people are going to be inclusive, for the most part. Black people are going to be inclusive.
That's so real.
We're going to make sure you're all right. We're going to take care of you. And listen, guess what? If you good people, we ain't going to let nobody fuck with you either. We're also very protective people. Cause listen, if you white and you my people, if somebody get out of line, guess what you're gonna say? No, don't do that. They're my people right there. Don't do that. They look.
Oh man, we are loving people,
listen,
man.
We good for this. Listen, if we bring them somewhere else, what the first thing we say? Nah, they cool. Nah, they cool. They good. Like, listen, we'll give out a black card so fast. We'll give a G pass. Listen,
man, that's so real.
We're the kings of hospitality. So this narrative that we're super aggressive, this narrative that we're dangerous,
it's so that
this
you said
narrative that we're animals, all that's a false narrative. These people are brainwashing themselves.
But we talked about that.
But
hold on, Wayne. We touched on that. And we're not to get long-winded, because I know we got to end this segment. But I'm saying we talked about that, how powerful your mind is. And when you're, fed these things to believe in, you know what I'm saying? If you continually fed that you're an animal, your neighborhood isn't safe. And, at the while, you keep hearing those, you become that.
Hey, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? You become that.
You're right. Listen, I think that's the thing about it. We had to be very cognizant. And I think we'll wrap up here. We had to be very cognizant. And I think the good thing about it is, as crazy as the world is right now, it has been a catalyst for a lot of Black people to be awakened, I think. And I think that's step one. As crazy as it is, this hectic time with race relations, this hectic time with our presidential leadership, it has sparked the conversation that a lot of Black people should have been having years ago. So if that's what I can get from this 4 years of Trump's presidency, I'll take that. Because if this is the spark that's going to spark a young Black radical awakening, I'll take 4-year bigotry in office. But I think the biggest thing is our biggest thing is for us to be collective, have these conversations, hash out the things, figure out what's going on with ourselves first, and then relay that message to the people. Number one, we need to identify who the ignorant people are. Because if you're ignorant, I can operate from that space. I'm a teacher. It's my job to battle ignorance. If you're simply ignorant, I can work with that. Because education is the opposite of ignorance. I can teach you better. And I can get you from point A to point B.
I got a false narrative.
The people we need to identify the willfully ignorant folks. Oh, you just want to be an asshole. You got another one?
I got a false narrative. I got a false narrative. Hold up. I got a false narrative. What if Donald J. Trump?
Donnie? I call him Donnie.
Listen. What if Donald J. Trump isn't who they
listen. You know what? You're right, man. Donald Trump is not who they say he is. He's worse.
He's worse. What if Donald Trump is the best president we ever had?
If I was 4 years old, that would be a true statement, because he would be my only president. But
what if he's the best president?
Unfortunately, I'm 34 years old, so I know better.
What if everything he says he's doing, he's actually doing?
Donald Trump says he's doing something different every day.
False narrative. It could be whatever. Is that a false narrative?
No, it's not, because Donald Trump says he's doing something different every day. So either he's lying over here or he's lying over here. He's lying somewhere. I call him Donald Trump again. Donnie. 45.
What if Donnie that guy, man? And everybody hates him.
Hey,
he really that guy.
Listen, he's definitely the guy. Listen, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Donald Trump, listen, when Donald Trump said I'm gonna grab him by the pussy, listen, I ain't gonna front. Donald Trump grabbed his women by the pussy, and he grabbed that election by the pussy.
Hey.
That's why he's president right now. And listen, I'm gonna say this right here on the air. I'm not a political guy, but I'm gonna tell you right now, this election cycle has nothing to do with politics. This is chess. This is chess.
Listen, this is my last one about Donnie, right? What is everything he's saying about how he
I'm getting Max in the right direction. You told him Donnie. We done got his full name.
Listen, what if Donnie, HBCU been showing a lot of love to HBCUs, and he's been saying he's done a lot for Black people. What if that's not a false narrative? I rest my case.
He's done nothing for me.
And I'm cool. Listen. What's next, man?
Donald Trump that had me working in a sweatshop making ties.
I started all. I had to go win on the Republicans right quick. That's why I threw Jose that curveball. They ain't thought I was gonna go there right quick. I had to. Go ahead.
Donald Trump not even a real Republican, but that's neither here nor there.
I don't think so either. That's a good point.
So we wrapped our false narrative. Let's move into this week's My Top 5. So this week's My Top 5 is going to be My Top 5 Black Influences. All right, so this should be fun. Who want to start?
Yo, let me go first, man.
Go ahead, take it, Max.
Listen, I'm gonna put my man Chadwick Boseman on the list, man. I'm putting him on my list. Man. This ain't no particular order, but I gotta put. I'm put him. I'm gonna put. I was thinking about when I think about my 5 influences. No order, but first they come to my head, and I say Allen Iverson.
Okay, Philly.
Chadwick was my first. Allen Iverson. 3
Philly.
Is my mother.
You
know what? I was thinking about Maya Angelou.
Okay.
Think about Maya Angelou.
That's a good one.
And then listen, and I'm gonna put my dad. I'm gonna put my dad in there, man. I'm done,
and
man.
Pops.
You know what I'm saying? Maya Angelou, Chadwick Boseman, Allen Iverson, mom and dad, man. Come on.
Right, good shit.
Little quick off the whim.
I'll take it next. I'm taking next. All right, so my top 5 influences. So what I want to do this week, my influence, I want to make sure that all radical people I respect a lot, radical people I look up to in one way, shape, or another. But first, I want to honorable mention. The honorable mentions back. I would be doing a disservice not to recognize my brother Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P. That's my honorable mention. So I want to make sure I recognize him first and foremost. All right, but into my 5 for my list. I'm gonna start with a young cat, young rap cat who I respect a lot, not only for his bars but for his voice.
Jose.
For his revolutionary.
Jose as well.
Jose as well. But my guy, Killer Mike. Killer Mike comes in at 5. Definitely a revolutionary guy. A lot of strong ideas. A person I look to a lot, and a person I look to as when I talk about a black agenda and a leader for black people, ideally I would like to see somebody like Killer Mike leading the charge. So definitely my brother Killer Mike Bigger.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Coming in at 4, a guy who comes from the film world, and we're gonna talk about film next week on our episode. So I want to make sure I recognize this guy. A guy who's always used his platform, a guy who always uses his voice to tell black stories in a revolutionary way. He even addressed police brutality years ago, and we see it, and we just kind of see that picture pop back up. So my brother Spike Lee, HBCU educated, Morehouse man, a guy from the BK in Brooklyn, a guy who's been doing the work for a long time, very revolutionary, very controversial at times, but a guy I respect a lot, a guy who I'm a big fan of, and a guy I'm gonna continue to support. All right, coming in at 3. All right, this when the list get real radical. All right, my guy, Huey P. Newton, founder of the Black Panther Party. A guy who who is often vilified, a guy who is often looked at as a super radical, but a guy we don't recognize for his educational prowess. A guy who earned a PhD, a college educated guy. A member of a Black Greek fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma, but a guy who passed away early, a guy who had a lot left to give, and a guy who made a lot of noise in a short amount of time. So I'm gonna make sure I recognize him. Coming in at 2, another guy I respect a whole lot, who's shown a lot of growth, and one of the guys I lean on and I look at. From point A to point B and see the progression. And it tells a lot about who we are as people and who we are as people as we continue to move and matriculate throughout life. Malcolm X, a guy who, early on in his life was a pimp, a guy who goes to prison, a guy who finds religion in the Nation of Islam, a guy who initially comes out and is very radical, very pro-Black, by any means necessary, super aggressive, but also a guy who goes to Mecca and comes back enlightened and sees the world for what it really is, or at least what it could be. So it gives you a lot of hope and a lot of it gives you an idea of, like there's hope and there's salvation for all of us in some sense. Another guy who left too early, a guy who was taken out at a very early age, a guy who had a lot to give, but a guy who I lean on, his principles, his beliefs, I definitely reflect on a lot. My number one, anybody who watches this show, or anybody who knows me personally knows that Dwayne Nettles, loves Black women. And me and Jose had a conversation earlier about changing the narrative about the relationship between Black men and Black women, and just protecting our Black women, Black men being here for our Black women, and vice versa, them being here for us as well. So I wanted to make sure my number one on this list is a very revolutionary Black woman, a strong Black woman, a radical, a revolutionary, and a person who's contributed a lot to the African American culture. Without further ado, I want to recognize my number one person on my list. Influence is Miss Angela Davis, a radical visionary, young Black woman who was making noise early on with the Black Panther Party, making moves, super revolutionary, definitely ahead of her time, and a person who just was unapologetically Black, but also very unafraid in a time where there was a lot of racial disparity, a lot of racial bigotry, and a lot of racial tension, and a lot of aggressiveness, I would say. One thing I say to Angela Davis is, when you see her and you see her spirit, you would, at least for me at least, you would never see her and think to yourself like, this is a young woman raised in the South, right? When I discovered that Angela Davis was born and raised in Montgomery, Birmingham, Alabama, it was like, and then just the idea of people being from the South, not being educated, not being super intelligent, the idea that Angela Davis was a super educated, super smart, super witty, super revolutionary woman, it says a lot. So she's definitely my number one on my list.
Yo. Hey, yo, read that message Kurt just sent you, bro.
Jose sent us. Oh, you know what? He joined it from the wrong one. That's what it is.
He was just slow. Hey, yo, you know how I forgot to put on my list?
What that? Who that?
Yahshua, Jesus Christ. That's all I wanted to put. I wanted to put Jesus Christ on my list, man. Number one. That's number one on my list, man.
Number one Black influence, Jesus Christ himself.
Number one Black influence is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christos. That's my number one.
Yahweh.
on everything, on God. That's my number one influence.
Number one, Jesus Christ. Number one influence. All right, so Jose is having
how did that happen?
Jose is having some technical difficulties at the moment. I'm gonna try to retrieve his list.
Because I sparked him on a debate.
Oh my God, here we go.
I sparked him on a debate. He got him out of
Here we go.
Oh, I gotta get him.
We're trying to get Jose back. We're gonna try our best. Shout out to my homegirl Whitney Jett. She's been contributing to the chat the entire night. She also says, "We love you too, Black man. We love you, Whitney. We love you too. Black women are truly a gift."
Oh, that was her going in on me on the chat.
Black women are truly a gift from God. In my opinion, the closest thing we have to God literally can bear life from their loins.
She was going in on me on the chat.
Man, she be asking for it, yo. Like you be wanting to get. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all now. Man, it's Max. I honestly think it's Max's goal to get us canceled. I think Max is trying to.
Why you say that? Wow, what I do?
I think Max is trying to get us canceled. Max is trying to get us kicked off of Facebook Live. He's trying to get us pulled off of YouTube.
Wow, what I do? Tell me what I do.
What I do? Max like, what's my boy? What's my boy name? What's my boy?
Yo, what's that?
You told me he was in a coma, yo.
Oh, King Face.
King Face. There you go. We got our boy back.
Hey, Kurt.
What's good?
I thought I sparked you on a debate. You got about it.
Nah.
I had to make you leave. That's
right,
what happened.
We on you, Jose.
I had to spark you right quick, bro.
Hold on. I was trying to get on my regular phone, but I had to.
You know why?
I had to pull up the other phone.
You know what happened? It got kicked out because like when you was on 2 pages,
I sparked him.
That's why I got kicked out. It got kicked out when I pushed it out.
Hold on. I'm gonna hang up on this one. I'm gonna hop back on the other phone. Hold on.
See if it lets you on.
1 second, guys.
All right, Jose's coming back.
Hey, spark him on the debate. Nah, Wayne, I'm not trying to get nobody kicked.
You know what we're gonna do?
Truth is truth.
You know what we're gonna
real
start
is
doing?
real. Hey, Whitney, real is real. Truth is truth, beloved. Hey, that's how we gonna carry it.
We're gonna start having
Whitney, keep bringing them comments.
We're gonna start having a vote off. Listen, we're gonna vote every week for who won the debate every week.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's weird though, you know what? Because we don't always disagree. Sometimes we're all on the same page.
Listen, we need the vote. Tell Whitney.
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason my other phone
won't
hop back on.
I done sparked you.
Matter of fact, Jose, it's not gonna let you on. It's not gonna let you on because when we was on 2 pages, it knocked you out. That's why.
Listen, hey,
right,
Whitney, in the comments.
So what you want me to just list my top 5 real quick?
Shout out Whitney. All right, Jose.
Listen, you got sparked. We don't need your top 5 no more. Hey, Whitney, in the comments.
We want the top 5.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and list
Trump
my top
2020. No,
I'll go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that. My honorable mention is gonna be EC the Preacher, and the reason why I picked him was because that was like one of the first people where like it like motivated me like to do better. Like he came from like the same background, same pedigree. Nothing was given to him. He had to work hard, and it's like a lot of those teachings. Like I can sit back and look, and something I'll never forget him saying is, you gotta want it as bad as you want to breathe. And I remember the fisherman story, how the youngster went out and the person was trying to teach him how to be a fisherman, but he didn't understand that concept. Number 5 is going to be Michelle Obama. The reason why I picked Michelle,
Black Queen.
What?
Black Queen.
Listen, you got to.
You can't jump in, man. This whole list.
When it comes to like, listen, you got to show me some type of respect here. You know,
I thought about
platform, and I really appreciate that. You know, but when I look at Michelle Obama, it's like she just made me want to respect and understand Black women as a whole. Like her words are very encouraging. They're very powerful. She's been in a position where she's been ridiculed over and over and over again by her own kind and by white people. She's stood tall and she's never said anything out of character. The woman is amazing in my personal opinion when it comes from her education, like to her style, to like, you know, being a caring person. She's just wonderful. Number 4 would have to be Dr. Sebi. And I heard about Dr. Sebi through, you know, Nipsey Hussle basically. And I took some time to like just do some research on like him finding the cure for cancer and AIDS, and him going against the state of New York. They tried to accuse him of being a fraud. And, you know, I've tried to like, even now, like I'm taking these different vitamins and I'm not doing everything he's saying, but I've definitely take heed to, you know, the health and lifestyle that I'm living. Number 4 would just be Nipsey Hussle, just in general. I was introduced to him in 2009, had been a fan ever since. Something that I'll always remember is him just putting in his raps, like when it came to like financial literacy and when it came empowering the youth and empowering the community. That was something that at the time when I was listening to music, I was lacking that. So it was like when I found an artist that exemplified those words, I wanted to follow them their whole career. The second person, number 2, would be Nas. I also felt that, you know, Nas, you know, produced records where like I can see exactly where he was, what he was talking about. I can visualize everything. He's one of the greatest storytellers of all time. You can think of like Illmatic. You can think of records like Affirmative Action, Black Girl Lost. It's like so many records he has produced that has either showed
how America treated us, or show how we treated our own kind, or visualize the situation that he was in, I was able to visualize all that. Number one, it would have to be like Maya Angelou. I love poetry. I would never forget the poem, The Caged Bird. It was something when I first read it, it was something that I felt like I was experiencing. I just felt like people didn't allow me to be who I wanted to be. They just wanted me to be a yes man and accept things for the way they are. And I felt like, you know, anytime I feel like I'm getting out of sync with myself, I can always go back to The Caged Bird and read it and reflect and understand, you know, where Maya Angelou was coming from as well. So I first read it. But yeah, let me go ahead and put back on my militant real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, these are amazing lists. Amazing lists. I don't know, yo. This might be the best top 5 we had yet. Like, this most diverse top 5 we've had.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's do this. All right, so let's move into our closing segment. Let's just move right into the shameless plug. Shameless plug. Jose, what you got?
Right now, you know, I'm just organizing couple of records. You know, I'm in the process of trying to drop. I'll let everybody know as soon as I get all the details lined out. You know, I'll definitely make that announcement and we'll be good to go. So, what about you, Max?
Max, you up? Oh, I think you muted Max.
Who muted me, yo?
I silenced you. I silenced you.
How you silence me though?
Because I'm the man. I'm the man.
Yo, rest in peace, Cliff. What's my man? Rest in peace, Cliff Robinson.
Rest in peace, R.I.P. Cliff Robinson. R.I.P. Cliff Robinson.
Cliff Robinson. As far as everything I got going on, I ain't talking about it, man. We just gonna drop. Simple as that. Anyway.
Good shit. All right, so on me. All right, shameless plug. We got a lot of stuff coming up in store. Number one, I always like to start.
Then you just have an interview, right?
Oh, interview. So on Tuesday. I got interview on Tuesday. Shooting on Tuesday. Columbia Golden Den with Hollow Art. Shout out Hollow Art. Interview gonna be Tuesday, live shooting. If you're free in Columbia, please come out. Support. Check us out. We got food, drinks, whole nine. Check out interviews. Support the other artists who are gonna be there. Myself as well. Also on Tuesday, I'll be performing. I have 2 performances on Tuesday. So I'll do an interview on Tuesday at Gold Den. Immediately after my interview, I'll be performing a set, comedy set after the interview, and then at 8 o'clock at R&B Grill, I'll be performing another set at 8 o'clock. So 2 performances on Tuesday. Check me out on September 13th. You catch me at Curiosity Coffee Bar. I'm gonna be opening for Jen Snyder. A heavyweight in the Columbia comedy scene, one of my mentors, one of the reasons I got into the game. Actually the winner of Best Local Comedian in Columbia. So she's the winner, I'm the runner-up. So we're gonna have a Best of Columbia show on September 13th.
Let's get it, Wayne.
Come check us out
Wayne,
at Cafe Comedy.
Let's get
Curiosity Comedy, excuse me. Curiosity Coffee, excuse
Wayne,
me.
Hey, Wayne.
Oh, wait. But look,
Wayne,
there's more.
Wayne, you're grinding.
There's more. Check me out on September 27th. Performance in Columbia. More details will come. It's going to be a warehouse show. Not going to be an audience, but it is going to be streamed. Once I get more information, I'm going to shoot that out to you guys. Make sure you guys have it so you guys can come check me out. But first and foremost, I want to shout out again to our brother who just passed, Chadwick Boseman. All this is dedicated to him.
Oh, Chadwick.
Your legacy will always live on.
Oh, Chad.
You did a lot in a short time. It means a lot. And we were remiss not to mention that. But first and foremost, shout out to the collective. My brothers, my guys. One thing I can take away from Chadwick's untimely passing is to appreciate every moment. And I'm gonna use this as our closing little dialogue.
Go ahead. Yeah. It's on you anyway.
One thing it has taught me is to be appreciative of the moment, be appreciative of the space you're in. Tell the people around you love them. because you don't know you're not gonna get that chance again. So to my
I love you
brothers,
guys.
to my brothers,
Kisses.
Matt Speed, I love you. Curtis Jose Rivera, I love you. To the supporters, I love you. Everybody in my life, I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks for supporting us.
I need a hug, bro.
Virtual hugs.
Nah, I need mine in real life, cuz.
I got you. So next time in the A, I got you. Biggest hug, right? Bro hugs.
All right.
All day. Bro
I'm
hugs
gonna
on
hold
me.
you to it too.
Bro hugs on me. Hold me tight when you do it too.
Whoa. No, come on, really? Come on.
I'm
Really?
secure
Anyway.
enough in my manhood to hug my brothers tightly. And it's fine.
Come on.
But this has been episode 11 of the Last of Hip Hop podcast. Thanks for joining in. We hope to keep a good conversation going. Even when it gets hectic, it's all love here. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for checking us out. We're going to catch you guys next week. Peace.